All right, so the first question is, your journey from a migrant farm worker to a NASA astronaut is incredibly inspiring. Could you share some key moments or experiences that you feel were pivotal in making this remarkable transition possible?
Well, I think there's several. I could point to three very pivotal ones. Early in my life was when Miss Young came to our house when we were ready to go back to Mexico for 3 months, and convinced my parents that a migrant lifestyle was not conducive to getting a good education, and used the planting and the uprooting of a tree as an example to my father, that made him realize that we needed to stay in one place, and that's when we started making Stockton our home.
Wow.
So that was one. The second one was, and I was in the second grade then, so I was about 7 years old. The second pivotal moment was when I was 10 years old, and I saw the very last Apollo mission.
Wow.
And seeing on TV, on our black and white TV, astronaut Gene Cernan walking on the moon, and then going outside. It was a cold December evening. I went outside, I saw the moon, came back inside, even remember the reporter's name, Walter Cronkite, narrating everything, and then telling my father that same night that I wanted to be an astronaut, and then him basically sitting me down, taking me serious. He did two important things. He validated my dream by saying, I think you can do it. And second, he gave me a simple 5-ingredient recipe that I still use today, which is very simple. He said, hey, you want to do this, follow these 5 steps. He says, determine your purpose in life, recognize how far you are, draw yourself a roadmap, prepare yourself according to the challenge, and develop a work ethic second to none. And then, of course, I add the 6th ingredient, which is perseverance.
Wow.
And then the third pivotal moment was after getting rejected 6 times from NASA, I was ready to give up. And my wife, basically uplifted me and encouraged me to continue moving forward with my dream. She basically said, you're always going to have that worm of curiosity if you quit. She said, you keep applying until they tell you not to apply anymore, because the last sentence on your rejection letter says, feel free to reapply again. And she says, you're always going to have that little worm of curiosity. What would have happened if you would apply the 7th, 8th, or 9th time? Because after the 6th time, I was ready to stop. And her parting words were, at the very end, is what really stuck to me, was when she walked away. She said, I don't know what they have that you don't. They meaning the folks that got selected as astronauts. And as she walked away, I tried to answer that question to myself, and I said, I don't know that either. Maybe I better find out. Yeah. And that's when I found out I had to be a pilot, scuba dive rated. I had to be an elite athlete, and I had to learn a 3rd language. Wow. And so those were the 3 I would point to pivotal moments that sort of kept me on track.
I love that. I love that you never took no for an answer and that you kept going. You really inspire others, really, truly.
Yeah.
So diversity and representation in space exploration are important topics today. So how do you see your story contributing to the conversation about the need for more Latino representation in this field?
Well, I always think that diversity brings more innovative solutions, more creative solutions, more streamlined solutions, as opposed to having a group of just similar people with similar experiences. I think the different experiences that we bring as diverse set of folks allows us to come up with more creative solutions as a team. So I always encourage diversity, equity, and inclusion in terms of when you have a working group. The more diverse you have it, you find it to be the most innovative and most productive.
I love that. Latinos got to keep overpowering, and that's the most important thing.
That's right.
Okay, so the next question is, being that sometimes films are portrayed a bit differently, how closely did you work with the filmmakers and actors to ensure that your experiences were accurately portrayed in the movie? Was there anything that you felt was missing from the film that you would have liked to add?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just say that it's hard to put a lifetime in a 2-hour film.
Correct, yeah.
So NASA does take some. The Hollywood does take some liberties. But in my particular case, I worked very closely with the 3 writers. Every script, I was given an opportunity to comment on it. I was at the shooting scenes in the movie, and then I even came out as a cameo, as you say. But what was important was that the story, especially the 3 events I told you, got portrayed in the movie correctly. Now, the liberties taken are, for example, Beto, my cousin, is actually a combination of 3 childhood friends.
Wow.
And because they want to save time and don't want to confuse the audience, they converted these 3 friends into one person and made it my cousin, which is a non-existent person. But I will tell you that these 3 friends were like Beto, and 2 of them died. One was a drug overdose. The other one was a suicide, because we lived in a tough neighborhood, and so only one of them is left. So from that perspective, that was the story of Beto. It's a combination of 3 childhood friends in East Side Stockton. The time frame with Casey, my mentor, the Indian American astronaut, was a little off. She wasn't our trainer per se. I was at NASA as an engineer, trying to get into becoming an astronaut, and she was my mentor. I kind of adopted her as my mentor, and I met with her a lot because she was an astronaut. I was an engineer trying to become an astronaut, and so she was sort of showing me the ropes and giving me advice and all that. And so when she went up in space, I was still an engineer. I was the chief of the material processes branch. We're the ones that do failure analysis, and our team was the one that went out and picked up the pieces of the shuttle when it fell in North Texas and Louisiana, and we did the forensics. We did the failure analysis that reported directly to the U.S. President appointed commission called the Columbia Accident Investigation Board, the CAPE board. We presented directly to them. So that was kind of like a misnomer with respect to that. And then the one portion of my career they did not highlight, which it's a third of my career at Lawrence Livermore Lab. I think that's the most important third of my career, including being an astronaut, was being one of 3 folks that invented the first full field digital mammography system for earlier detection of breast cancer.
Wow.
And so before we came on board, mammograms were taken with film. And doctors and they were chemically developed, and doctors read the mammograms. Doctors read the mammograms with on the light table. And what we did is we developed an electronic device that the X-rays were turned into light and captured by a camera system, and then we created the image digitally. So we ushered in the era of medical digital imaging. And then we opened up a whole new era of computer-aided diagnosis, so that the computer helps in diagnosis. I worked a lot with University of California, San Francisco radiology department, learned how to read mammograms and develop some software to do early detection using fuzzy logic. And we were able to detect possible early precursors to breast cancer, which included microcalcifications, stellate and circumscribed lesions, asymmetric glandular distortion, all these things that we programmed. And we demonstrated that our images contain more information than the traditional film mammograms. And more information means earlier detection. Earlier detection means you save lives. So this device has saved hundreds of thousands of lives, and it all started at Lawrence Livermore National Lab, and I was one of 3 people that were key to inventing it. And like I said, it wasn't even covered in the movie, and I was very disappointed that part wasn't covered.
Oh, I bet. Like, that's such an insane thing that it came to save so many lives. Yeah, like, I get why you would be upset, but honestly, you've accomplished so much, and I congratulate you for that, really.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay, so the next question is, as one of the few Latino astronauts, what advice would you give to young Latino individuals who aspire to pursue careers in space exploration and science-related fields?
Well, I would say follow my father's 5-ingredient recipe that I gave you, and add perseverance to it, and then look at what astronauts have accomplished professionally to get selected, and make sure you emulate that.
Okay, sounds good. I love that. So this one's kind of like a little bit of a fun fact, but I'd like to hear your answer on it. It is known that when astronauts are in space, and according to NASA, the height of astronauts increases approximately 3% over the first 3 to 4 days of weightlessness in space. Did you feel any sort of difference in your body, or did you feel like you get taller when you came back?
No. What happens is the reason why you expand in space is you don't have gravity. Correct. So your own weight of your body is not pushing down on your spine. And so when you're up there, it relieves that weight, that tension, so your spine naturally expands a little bit. 3% is probably the top portion of how much it would expand. And it doesn't, I'm a short guy, so it didn't affect me. I didn't feel anything. I've heard that taller guys, 5'10", 6 foot people, that they feel a slight pain in their lower back because of this expansion. But you know what happens is you can't get too happy that you're taller, because when you come back, gravity takes a hold, and you come back to your normal height before you left.
Interesting.
So it's only a phenomenon because of the lack of gravity.
Oh, okay. That's interesting to know. Thank you for that. And the last question is, as someone who has achieved so much, what future goals and aspirations do you have for yourself?
Well, I'm coming full circle. There's a saying, you can take a kid out of the farm, but not the farm out of the kid. And so I'm coming full circle in the sense that I still pick grapes, but they're my grapes. I have a vineyard, and I also make my own. I have my own label of wines. It's called Tierra Luna Cellars, Cellars, and Tierra como tierra. Tierra Luna Cellars, and I have a direct-to-consumer business, which means if you go on the website, you order the wine, it arrives to your residence, to your house. My goal is to grow and scale it up enough such that I can tell anyone, just go to a supermarket and you'll find it. That's my goal.
I love
Scale up, and just like you can find a Mondavi wine, I'm hoping you can find a Tierra Luna Cellars wine. So that's my next goal right now. And so before that, I wanted the whole thing is I wanted to come back home so I can. I started my aerospace research, aerospace consulting business, and so what I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure I got my kids through college, and I have 5 kids, and I have one left. He's in his 3rd year in mechanical engineering at UC Merced. So I'm very I'm almost there with that one. So this is why now I'm now focusing on the wine business. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, I congratulate you, honestly. And I love that you stay and stick with your roots, which is the most important thing. We always have to remember where we come from. And yeah, thank you so much for talking with me today. It was truly an honor. I found everything super interesting. So thank you so much, Jose.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay? Thank you.
Of course. Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. Adios, Jessica. Bye-bye.
Bye.